For good or for bad. Today's society, including the students, are questioning the very establishments that civilization is based on. The older generation is not only threatened by it, but is highly irritated. It seems that everybody is challenging authority, and that's the new status quo. It's now a fashion to speak against what has been held dear for so long, or to blaspheme people who have been highly regarded by society. We are in a very dire situation, you might say. The citizens have no respect for their elected president or prime ministers or members of parliament, senators. The employees have no respect for their bosses. Similarly, the students have no respect for their teachers and principals, as well as the whole educational institution itself. It seems that everything is going downhill towards a state of anarchy. Now, do those people who are thrashing the establishments loyal to one another? Obviously, they are not. And with just one single incident, any person can be singled out and be the victim of online trolling. That person will become a meme. If he is lucky, he will develop a mental disease like depression at the lower end, or PTSD at the upper end. If he's unlucky, he'll be drawn towards suicide. So the hunter becomes the hunted in no time in today's world. This chaos that I have just described to you is mainly due to the proliferation of social media across the world. It has so much become easy for any rumors to spread, and then the little disgruntlement that people had becomes like dry leaves in a forest, and there's a wildfire that spreads around the world. In this section, I'm talking about schools and colleges and the attitude that people have towards them. It is shifting, as you must have guessed. The news is bad. Nobody wanted or liked to go to the bank to clear a check or deposit money or remove cash. In the early days, going to the bank was a kind of social interaction, and later on, it became a hassle. The employees began to be abused, thankfully, because of their own lack of skills to make the customers feel wanted and respected. So everybody wanted to be done away with having to go to the bank. Then the ATM came, and now everything is online, even opening a bank account. So it seems that the aggressive, demanding customer finally got his way, and now most people, unless you have a serious problem, don't have to go to the bank. The same trend occurs with our utility bills for water, electricity. Gone are the days when we had to stay in line and get irritated by the government employees. Now we pay online. The same goes with the taxes. We don't even have to go shopping now. We order everything online, then it comes at our doorstep. Yes, we still have to deal with the delivery boy, but that's at least tolerable. When we like to make a friend, how do you introduce yourself to that person nowadays? Make a friend request on a social media app. Gone are the days when you would walk towards that person, take a risk, and offer your hand for a handshake, smile, make eye contact, and start a conversation. Also, it's much easier now to ignore people, because all you need to do is to press a button called ignore or block. There is no need to face your friend or ex friend. So, what I'm getting at is Technology has enabled us to dispense of human contact and shorten the process for everything. Naturally, students will also think, why not do away with schools and colleges? There are many apps that claim that if you subscribe to them, then you don't need to go to college or school. As I have mentioned earlier on, also, the famous Elon Musk doesn't require a college degree. It is rumored that he said he won't put his own children through school or college. The influencers are shouting their lungs against the formal education system that we know of today. Consequently, students who are glued to their mobile phones will be influenced or have been influenced by these trends. So the students come to school or college with a negative mindset that they have been forced to spend their years doing things that is actually not going to help them. Also, they feel that it's not fun. All this confusion leads into anger, and the teachers and the administration of those education institutions have got to face their rampage. In one way, the coronavirus lockdown gave us the answer of whether we need schools and colleges or not. The students themselves at first become excited because they didn't need to go to school or college. But later on, they felt not only bored, but they felt that void that comes from the inability to learn properly. I meet those students still today in the higher classes that they have reached. I can tell you that those 2 years of intermittent lockdowns and school shutdowns have really affected the capacity to study, to understand, to memorize. They are unable to even keep at pace with world events because they don't have the foundation. They don't have the basic language skills and the logical skills that would have developed had they stayed in the class and been forced to complete those exercises. They don't have the attention span required to even listen during a conversation because they lost the habit of listening to a teacher in the class. They don't have the habit to sit straight in a meeting because they lost the habit of sitting still in a class. If you ask me, it's horrible what the absence of school and college did for those kids. Some of them realized where they lacked and unlearned bad habits and learned new habits. Some of them re-educated themselves, but most of them are still unaware of how they have become so uneducated despite having a degree. It's a sad state of affairs, if you ask me. So, I would like to conclude this particular subsection by saying that even though we have been able to do away with having to go to the bank or having to go to a government office or even having go to a shop, we will not be able to do away from having to go to school or college. The coronavirus lockdown has been an experiment in education that could not have otherwise been conducted. I'm sure that somebody, or even you who are reading this book, will do a research on the postulate that I've just put forward here. This was the best experiment group, that is the coronavirus lockdown students. If you are able to track them down and compare them to the control group, which would be an earlier or later generation, then you'd have a perfect results which will prove or disprove that we can do or not do with colleges and schools. Now, I'll just give you some good reasons that we should keep going to school or college as much as you can afford it financially or in terms of family circumstances. I don't think there is a better use of your time, unless, of course, you have a bright idea like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk. The primary reason we should go to school or college is to get a degree. It's a piece of paper, and nowadays it's not even that. It's a line in a resume because it's backed up online in the database of a university. There will always be people who will cheat the system and find loopholes, but for the majority of the people, they will have passed and gotten a degree honestly, and that is the proof that the student completed a certain period of time and acquired a set of skills which would be beneficial for the potential employer in the future. A degree is also a guarantee that this person will have the necessary skills and basic knowledge required to acquire further skills and knowledge required in the uh, offered job. The guarantor here is the university, and its guarantor usually is the government. Employers will always look for some kind of guarantee of credibility in their employees. Getting to know a student before giving him a job without a degree would be very difficult. Also, a degree is a sign that the person has got a sense of achievement. That person loves to complete something that he started. You want that in an employee. So, if for nothing, even though I do not agree with the concept of degrees, you should go to school or college to get a degree because that will be needed for you to build trust in your career. Another reason to go to school or college is to build self discipline. By attending classes, you develop the discipline to come on time, to talk politely, to mingle with friends. The students learn to dress up properly. Most of us, if you are reading, know that our lifestyle or habits or behavior have been shaped during our school and college. I was in a boarding school, and it was compulsory to wear a night suit when you went to bed. That's not a surprise for most. But because ours was a British run school, that's what they said at least. We were not allowed to wear our undergarments when we slept. The punishment for that was very strict, as a matter of fact. So, up till now, I have the same practice. But if in my school days I did not face that particular discipline, I would not have developed that practice of sleeping without my undergarments and just a night suit. Till today, I greet my seniors, clients, people I should respect, not artificially, but it just comes out naturally. This was because during my school days, it was compulsory to greet the teachers. Whenever I am in a meeting, I take down notes. I develop that habit and discipline because in my engineering class, the teachers required us to do that. Taking notes has been very useful in my career, not only to impress the employer or the clients, but to make reports, proposals, and so on. Certainly, there are many bad habits that a school or a college could impart in the students, but that would be the exception. And most of the time, there will be more discipline than less of it. The next reason to go to school or college is to actually learn something. It is to learn about mathematics, English, geography, science, the history of your nation, the geography of the world, that's a no-brainer. But in the process of getting a degree, many students forget that they're here to learn and not to just to pass or get an A. They're actually supposed to be able to use the language skills that they have acquired to express their feelings in a diary that they might write, or to write an article in a newspaper. They are actually supposed to use their mathematical skills when they go to shopping, or when a contractor comes at their home and make a false estimate on the surface area they covered for painting, as an example. They are supposed to use the learning that they get from history to converse with people in the community and engage people who are seniors to them into conversation. This learning can happen outside school and college, but it's more natural there. However, it is very sad that many people miss this particular component of education and just focus on getting a degree. If we did not have school or college to go to, then many of us would be friendless. However, I am amazed at how many students in this current generation Z are unable to make friends. In my counseling sessions, I am sent children who are absent a lot of days of the week, or sometimes for months. The teachers and the parents tell that they are lazy and they are for no good, or that they got into bad habits or bad company, and that is why they are not coming to study. When they are with me, the students loosen up and open up. What I found is that in 90% of the case of absenteeism in a chronic scale, the main reason is that they are not able to make friends in the class that they are in. That might baffle you, but that's how these students are living nowadays. When they come to class, they just sit down at the desk and talk to nobody, and they just leave. If you are very studious and you do that because you are independent, that would be good. But the reason the students are so introverted is because they don't have the ability to make friends, and the other friends do not care to integrate them in their groups. A minority of those students do not come to college because they have been bullied, but that's very rare. The main reason is they are ignored. In case of girls, is because the group of girls that they knew before gossips and leaks out confidential things that they had shared when they were close. That leads to serious absenteeism among girls. But the whole objective of going to school and college is to learn how to deal with friends. Some ignore you, some hate you, and some love you. That's the whole idea of going to school, to prepare us to live in a society where our parents will not be present in the future. In my opinion, the main reason for going to school or college is to transform ourselves from the caterpillar to the butterfly. As a counselor and motivator, the biggest joy is to see a student turn his life around and become the best version of himself or herself. We all have our own transformation stories. Recall back in your school days, and educational matters seemed less important than your personal transformation. You might have been an introverted student and you passed out as an extroverted person, or at least somebody who could handle crowds and other extroverted people. You might have been an unruly, angry person and you transformed into a calm, peaceful, and disciplined person. You might have started out as a fool, and through the motivation and coaching of your teachers, you turned out to be a smart student. So we all have those stories. Again, there are some sad stories whereby the transformation is negative. But again, it's less due to the educational system and more due to some family matters that the student is faced with. That said, it cannot be ruled out that there are really some evil teachers who themselves have come from traumatized childhoods, but then that's a topic of another book. I will quickly go through the various components that a student is able to transform during his school days and college days. Any child at the beginning is socially awkward. Some of them are shy and some of them are totally shameless. So the idea is to strike a balance. It's about presenting yourself with dignity and not overdoing it also. It's about being able to make friends, keeping friends, and letting go of friends when it's not possible to keep them. It's about making new groups of friends when the old group of friends give up on you for various reasons. Social skills is about learning how to have differential treatment for friends, seniors, juniors, teachers, administrators, the general public, parents. That's what living in a society means. And you learn that directly or indirectly in school or college. Some schools and colleges provide life skills training to the students, but most don't. However, even though it's not formally taught, most of the students learn life skills like proper communication, which is an extension of social life, basic leadership skills, decision making skills, negotiation skills, and so on. When you play a team sport, you have to develop those life skills in order to come the next day and play with the other kids. Even when two of your friends quarrel and you are in the middle, you are learning conflict management. However, it's true that most of the education institutions lack in a proper system to equip the students with the necessary life skills, or we call them soft skills, needed for the students to succeed or even to survive in this world. But again, like I just said earlier on, it's another book to be written. After going to school and college, the personality of the student changes. As parents, we always welcome the change that our children go through in terms of the way they carry themselves, look into our eyes, reply to our questions. We like them to be of a high standard, higher class. Schools and colleges are the best place to develop the personality of the students. That again will be a foundation for their future lives. I met many students who say that they are not able to study or focus. Then I ask them what's the reason, and they do not know. Upon further investigation, I found out that they would have had long break either because of the holidays or the waiting period for the results to come. In that period, they would not have had any time or habit to study. Instead, they would have developed habits of laziness and using their mobile phones or hanging out, roaming with friends. They are not aware of it, but this degradation in the habit of study carry over into their college life, and they just are not able to study later on. That leads to laziness even if they have a job. That leads to bad habits even in relationships later on. So what went wrong is that they could not keep up good habits, which is of studying when they were out of the educational system. So the schools and colleges form the habits that are useful for our whole lives, like giving time for curiosity and learning, for exercise, for breaks, basically to have a proper routine for everything. Unfortunately, the students do not learn that the habits transform them, and they just take it for granted. So when they leave the school, there is nobody for enforcing those habits because they haven't understood the basics of those habits. So some of them grow dull, others grow fat, others go unruly. However, upon being reminded about the habits that they had formed in school, the students can easily adapt back to a world of habits. And that's the legacy of schools and colleges. Who likes an unmannered person as a life partner or employee or even a friend? Schools teach us that because the teachers are in the best position to reprimand the students when they act out of line. Many of us learn to eat in a well mannered way from school. We learned not to yawn without putting our hands in front of our mouth. We learn to excuse ourselves when we sneeze. So these are all well mannered people in action. It is sad, however, that many schools do not feel that it is their responsibility to teach the students manners, show respect by standing up and greet the teacher when he enters the class, let the teachers or senior people or ladies go first by opening the door. Many of those manners are gone nowadays. So that's a sorry state. Parents will find it very difficult to change the concept that a student has. But for people in authority, especially the teachers, the counselors, the administrators, will find it very much easier to shape the mind of the child. Many of the students grow up with the wrong concept of life, and students are not open to learn from their parents or even their friends. Teachers are able to feed them with the proper concept of life because they have lived longer and have seen more. And this is a very transformative experience that is highly personal, and it cannot usually be done en masse. Schools and colleges impart values of life that might be conducive for the student or might not be. For example, in my own country, many schools make it compulsory to speak in English, where the local language is Nepali. They go to the extent of penalizing in the local language. Now, this shows that they value more the foreign language than the local language. They are preparing the students for life abroad. So the schools are in a very strong position to affect the values of the students, whether they know it or not. But overall, the schools and colleges teach the values of hard work, sacrifice, curiosity, and achievement in the students through various mechanisms, processes, activities, and the student is most of the time transformed into a better person. Finally, going to schools and college is a matter of status in the society, needless to say. So I'll not elaborate more on that.